And we're back. The
Yeah.
day 2 of 2021 on This Is Not Advice. We are on, right, day 122? Yeah.
And time for another one of your questions about work. Min and I are startup investors who focus on the future of work, and we do one of your questions every day.
And this week we are answering a bunch of questions about finding, changing, growing in jobs and career paths. And so today we're going to break down this following question: should I leave my job to focus on the job hunt?
At first, no. Leaving your job is a one-way door, right? If you leave, you can't, and decide a month later, it's like, oh, that didn't actually help that much in the job search, then you can't come back. And I'm setting aside some obvious things that, like, you may not be able to leave your job. You may need the income, in which case searching while you're sitting at your job. So I think the question is, if you can leave your job, if you're in a position to be able to, how much does it help in your search? And I think it can hurt in some ways. And one way it can hurt is that you have to explain why you, and Motto, I see what you're saying there. We're going to get to this in a second. I love when people take the other side. I think you may need to explain why you've left. Sometimes being in your job gives you something to talk about in the interviews. And searching for a job is often, it's an unpredictable process. It's not like if you put a month in or something like that, then you will definitely have a better result. Sometimes you're waiting for people, and so doing it part-time can be helpful because, well, the person might take 3 weeks and blah, blah, blah. The ways in which it helps, and so this is, as we often say, a timing and dosage question, because you may need more time to do things like, if you're a parent with kids, finding time outside of work hours to, like, edit your resume. We talked about resumes yesterday. Polish up your LinkedIn, let's put it that way, can be challenging. And so more time can be helpful. And then Jason Motto Singh, points out, he says, find yourself. And I think that if you're in a position if you're in the kind of search where you are thinking about making a more radical change, where you're considering, like, really different options for what you might do, then sometimes having time to reflect and think is a really magnificent thing and a real privilege. And I'd actually say that whether you're searching for a new job or not, having that time to reflect and think can be amazing. And I've gone through phases where I've left a job by choice. I've gone through phases where I left a job because the plank ran out and I had to jump off. And they've all been different in different ways. So this is not one where there's an obvious answer, other than to start with the seat before you go through a one-way door. And thank you, Joe, who has made some transitions himself. And we got to get you on the show at some point, Joe. Min, thoughts?
Yeah, no, I think the timing and dosage one resonates. I mean, this is one where I think the answer is very much, it depends. And I think one way I might think about it is, the earlier you are in your career, you might still find yourself exploring different opportunities. And so like, maybe a good litmus test is, like, the more nebulous of what you want to do next it is, maybe you should default to no and spend more time doing the research and talking to different individuals and across industries. And the more specific you get around, this is the role that I want, these are the kinds of companies, these are the kinds of people I want to work around, the more that becomes crystallized, that it feels more of like okay, then I can now actually spend some time-bound amount of time to actually look for my next opportunity.
Yeah, I love when we say it's timing and dosage, saying on what factors does it depend should be a requirement for us. And it does raise for me that not all searches are for a new job. Meaning sometimes what you're doing is you're trying to find an opportunity to collaborate with people on a startup. And you can do that well in a job, but you may have conflicts. Sometimes you want to try before you buy. You want to do a thing where you work on a project with a company before you join them. And that's the kind of thing that you may not be able to do while still employed. And so it depends on the nature of the kind of how you begin working in something. Corporate jobs are a different thing where you might get hired and have a first day and ... So, yeah.
And Roy, you and I spend a lot of time, this is squarely in the future of work realm. And I feel like increasingly we are seeing more individuals taking that try before you buy, take on, side projects, that's a topic for a whole nother day, but taking on ad hoc work to work on some project that might be in a new domain that you care about, that you're interested in and might want to pursue a full-time opportunity in, or whatever future opportunity. I think we're seeing that more, and on the flip side, employers also being open to candidates doing things like that. And so that is another topic for a future episode.
Yeah, also depends on exactly on what your host company thinks. To be continued. And yes, we've got hecklers today, but loving hecklers. So thank you guys. I see you in the LinkedIn comments chiming in.
Okay, well, that's all for now. If you have other questions about work, startups, or anything like that, you can find Roy and me down below or anywhere that you're seeing this, and we'll be back tomorrow.
To be continued.
To be continued.